This was the trip that started it all. In the summer of 2007, myself, my wife, and her parents, along with our 6-month-old daughter, began an epic camping trip out west that would be the first of many to follow. One of the first stops on our journey westward was in Mitchell, South Dakota, to see the famous Corn Palace, a building which has a facade covered in murals made completely from corn and other grains. Continuing on through South Dakota brought us to the mysterious land of eroded buttes and pinnacles known as Badlands National Park.
Alexa. You're a big girl, Alexa.
One of the most scenic trails we encountered in the park was the strenuous Saddle Pass Trail, which climbed several hundred feet up and ended with amazing views over the White River Valley.
What do you think, guys? It's pretty easy, huh?
I'm okay so far.
I'm breathing.
Alexa. Hi.
Is it?
Yeah.
One of the more curious creatures we encountered was the prairie dog. These vocal rodents lived in burrows that sometimes stretched as far as the eye could see. A trip to South Dakota is of course not complete without a visit to Mount Rushmore. This famous mountain contains the 60-foot tall carved heads of our great presidents Washington, Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Moving on to Wyoming brought us to the foot of one of the more strange landmarks in this country. Devil's Tower National Monument was the first national monument in the United States. This monument protects the towering rock formation known to the local Native American tribes as the Bear Lodge. As we made our way across Wyoming, we took the southern of two routes across the Bighorn Mountains. US 16 traverses the range at Powder River Pass and then descends Ten Sleep Canyon into the Bighorn Basin. spent the night in Riverton, Wyoming, and then began the scenic drive up US 26 with sweeping views of the Absaroka Range to the north and the Wind River Range to the south. We crested the top of Togati Pass at the Continental Divide in the Absaroka Mountains and were treated to our first view of the majestic Teton Range.
You at the Grand Tetons, Alexa?
Alexa.
To make the best use of our time during our day in Grand Teton National Park, we decided to take the lake cruise across Jenny Lake and hike the Cascade Canyon Trail to Hidden Falls and Inspiration Point.
Hi, Alexa. What do you think of this? You happy? You like to hike? Alexa, do you like to hike? Don't mean you're sleepy.
While trying to get footage of the black bear in this scene, I walked along a ridge line in a bid to get a better angle. Unbeknownst to me, that black bear also made a move below the ridge line in the same direction I was heading. Separated at that point only by the ridge in tens of yards, I was luckily warned by the shouts from onlookers and spared a dangerous encounter. Yellowstone had always been the crown jewel when we planned our trip. We arrived in the park after dark, missing a lot of the scenery during the drive to Canyon Campground. When we woke in the morning, our first destination was the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone just outside the campground. The views that lay before us simply blew us away. The Hayden Valley is centrally located in Yellowstone National Park along the Yellowstone River. There were many locations here where we were able to view the bison herds as they gathered in their summer grazing spots. Adjacent to the Hayden Valley is a small geothermal area known for its mud volcano and sulfur cauldron. As we exited our vehicle in this location, the air was thick with the pungent odor of sulfur fumes. Yellowstone Lake is the largest lake in Yellowstone National Park and the largest alpine lake in all of North America. The lake is as deep as 390 feet and has over 110 miles of shoreline. Along one bay known as the West Thumb, which itself is a volcanic caldera similar to Crater Lake, is a small geyser basin. We witnessed many elk in this location licking on the many mineral deposits.
Bye. Alexa? Say da 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 da. Yes, it's 167 degrees Fahrenheit. Creepy. I think this is my favorite thing so far, these weird pools that you can see into. This is Bluebell Pool.
Norris Geyser Basin is the hottest geyser basin in all of Yellowstone. The basin is crisscrossed by numerous boardwalks which lead to countless pools and geysers. Some were made up of colors so intense it was hard to believe they came about naturally. The colors of the Norris Basin stand apart from other areas in Yellowstone due to the higher levels of acidity in the water. One of the more interesting features we came across during our visit to Yellowstone was the dancing mud of both the artists and fountain paint pots. If there is one landmark almost all people recognize as being in Yellowstone, it would most certainly have to be the Old Faithful Geyser. We gathered with the crowd in the upper geyser basin to watch it erupt, right on cue. The old reliable geyser did not fail to disappoint. Near Old Faithful in the Upper Geyser Basin are also scattered countless other geothermal features. We managed to hit Grand Geyser just in time to see one of its twice daily eruptions. Grand Geyser is known as being the tallest predictable geyser in the park. On the northern loop of the park road heading towards Tower Falls area, we had one of our best bear sightings. A beautiful black bear casually meandered among the wildflowers, seemingly unaware of the crowd of humans that began to gather at the side of the road to watch.
What? Really? What? Do you like it, Alexa? Don't make her, it'll hurt her feet if you make her stand up. That's fun, isn't it, Alexa?
One of the neatest areas in the park is the Firehole River swimming area. This area is one of the few in the park where swimming is allowed. The swimming hole is very scenic with an area of interesting cliffs to swim between. My daughter seemed to enjoy her swim as well.
Hey, Brian. Did you have a fun time swimming? You did? Did you have a good time? Alexa! Alexa!
Down the river.
After 5 amazing days in Yellowstone, it was time to move on to Idaho, but not without one last delay due to some of the local commuters.
It's babies.
Our first night in Idaho was spent along the bubbling waters of the Salmon River at Chalice Hot Springs. This was a great family-owned park that has been in their family for 5 generations. We happily took the opportunity to relax in one of several hot pools they have on site, fed by the local geothermal springs.
Alexa. How are you?
After crossing the Sawtooth Mountains at Galena Summit, we made our way to the most otherworldly destination of our adventure, Craters of the Moon National Monument. Scattered across the vast preserve are 3 major lava fields, countless cinder cones and craters, as well as lava tube caves, of which we explored several. After spending a week in the conifer forest of the Rocky Mountains, we moved into a whole different landscape as we entered the red rock country of the Colorado Plateau in the Moab, Utah area. There are 2 major national parks near Moab. Arches National Park protects over 2,000 natural sandstone arch formations, which is the highest concentration found anywhere in the world. The other major national park found near Moab is Canyonlands National Park. Also spectacular and worth a visit is the adjoining Dead Horse Point State Park. Both parks protect the red rock beauty contained in the canyons, mesas, and buttes surrounding the Colorado and Green Rivers. After 2 absolutely amazing weeks seeing some of America's greatest treasures, it was time to head home. This trip was the first of many to follow, though. It was the trip that planted the seed for the love of the freedom of the road and the worlds that could be opened up through traveling with an RV.